Okay, this is going to be a review of Monday Night Raw. The reason I'm doing a review is John Cena's last Madison Square Garden show, and I guess more importantly, is John Cena's last Raw. It doesn't feel that long ago when Cena was drafted to Raw. You know, one of the best moments maybe ever. So I was really curious to see what Cena was going to do on his last MSG show and his last Raw. I mean, it felt like it was going to be a huge show. Look, if you're a little bit disappointed that Cena didn't have a dream match on the show, I totally understand that. I think you were asking for a lot though if Cena was going to face Jericho or if Cena was going to face Edge, and some people even were hoping that he was going to face The Rock. Look, these are people that aren't really in tune with today's product, but I really enjoyed it. I would definitely say, it was a good Raw. It might have been one of the better Raws of the year. There were moments during the show where I almost gave up on it in terms of actually doing the review, but ultimately, I think it's the right call. I thought it was a great show. I think that the most important thing is, it really gets you excited for two different things. It gets you excited for Cena's last match. The Time Is Now tournament. It's been a pretty damn good tournament so far. I wish I could find the fucking bracket for it. For some reason, I can't even find like an image of the brackets online. I don't know what. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. But the War Games stuff to end the show is probably going to be the highlight. Yeah, you definitely got some nice surprises there, which I actually, to be honest with you, I really was not expecting. But we start off the show with John Cena actually coming out to a great ovation. Maybe the best reaction Cena has ever gotten at Madison Square Garden, which is saying a lot. That covers a lot of ground. Cena even mentioned the 2008 Royal Rumble as, one of his favorite MSG moments, and the Big Show as well from WrestleMania 20 earlier on today with, Stephen A. Smith. But, the beginning promo here, Dominic interrupts him again. So I didn't cover this, but Cena actually beat Dominic Mysterio in Boston last week on Raw, which was a fun little match. The reaction for Cena last week in Boston was fabulous, and he's the Intercontinental Champion. He could say that, the champ is here. So, this beautifully sets up the Survivor Series match. And it didn't even hit me until the fucking promo. This is really, really cool. So Cena actually beats Dom in Boston. And now, Dominic said, I'm going to face you on my terms, and I'm going to call the shots. And, you're going to face me in San Diego, which is, Rey Mysterio's hometown, the Mysterio hometown of 619 in San Diego, which is War Games. So it's going to be Cena and Dom for the IC title in San Diego. So we'll see the reaction there. I'm pretty sure Dominic is still going to get booed. It's probably going to be more of a mixed reaction. Dominic got more heat than he's ever gotten in Boston and in Madison Square Garden. The funniest part about this promo, if anyone didn't catch it, the fans are actually chanting, "Shut the fuck up" to Dominic. And Cena's like, hold on a second. Netflix, just so you don't understand them, they're shouting out, "Choco Fun Cups." It was funny as hell. It was really, really funny. So, this leads to, the Judgment Day coming out. Finn Balor and JD McDonough come out and they gang up on Cena. And then, Rey Mysterio, the deadbeat, as Dom calls him, makes a save. And Sheamus makes a save as well. So it's really cool. I think Sheamus is still in the tournament right now. So, the tournament final might end up being Sheamus and Gunther, now that I really think about it. But it was a cool little 6-man tag. Look, if you're disappointed that Cena wrestled in a tag match, I totally understand it. But this was a boatload of fun. I mean, it was really, really fun. Cena and Mysterio, they got a lot of history together. See, if Edge was in this spot, this would have been like an anniversary of that Future Is Now tag match from SmackDown in the summer of 2002. So that would have been really cool. But I like the fact that Sheamus was in it. Sheamus, he really, it does really feel like Sheamus, has paid Cena a lot of respect. Cena put him over for Sheamus's first championship victory, which was also December 13th. Back at TLC in 2009. So it's a cool moment to see Cena and Sheamus get along. I really thought it was a lot of fun. And, Cena and Mysterio, like I said, man, a ton of history together. They both closed out WrestleMania 22 as champions. They that WrestleMania, it felt like they were going along with, two merchandise sellers, but not to be disrespectful. Yeah, Cena actually beat Ray, actually to become champion in a tournament as well. So it was a cool moment, Plus, you got Ray going up against Dominic here, and the hot tag to Cena was incredible. This was just a lot of fun, man. And I thought really everybody did deliver here. I thought everybody had some good moments. The triple trifecta of moves on Cena came off really good, where you had Balor doing the coup de grace, you had JD doing a beautiful moonsault, and then Dominic follows it up with a frog splash, which got a ton of heat. And I think Dominic even broke up the 619. That got a lot of heat as well. But overall, man, it was just pretty fun. You had Sheamus, Mysterio, and Cena doing the Sheamus. That spot where he just pounds the guy on the rope, that was pretty cool. And then it pretty much ended with all of them doing the "you can't see me" thing, and they hit the trifecta of moves, and Cena gets the win over JD McDonough. So it was tough to follow, man, because the crowd was just really, really good for it. So it's a fun little 6-man tag. It's about 15 minutes. Maybe one of the better trios matches of the year, especially in terms of crowd reaction. So it was definitely a lot of fun, and it definitely makes you excited to see Cena and Dominic in San Diego. I mean, you would think that Dom is going to win the belt back. But when you really think about it, can the finals of the tournament be for the Intercontinental Championship? Because if it is, this is a nice little way for Gunther to regain the IC title, the title that he really helped elevate. So, there's a lot of other stuff on this show that, we'll get into as well. You had the Nikki Bella heel turn, which I totally missed last week. I don't know what it was. I guess I didn't make it through the whole Raw last week. But Nikki turns on Stephanie Vakir, and we get, not necessarily a heel promo, but, Nikki attacks Stephanie from behind, and she's just talking trash to her, calling her a mamacita, and basically saying, did you think I was just going to take a back seat and be a cheerleader too? So it's good. I'm glad that Nikki is getting a chance to be a heel. I think she's definitely better suited for it after everything that's gone on the last couple of years. And then you got Solo Sikoa taking on Dolph Ziggler in the Last Time Is Now tournament. The Dolph thing, I think it kind of leaked earlier on in the day. So if you're on YouTube and you saw the thumbnail pop up, it wasn't like the biggest shock in the world, but it came off good. I think the reaction for Ziggler came off really, really strong here. And I thought him and Solo had a fun-ass match. I mean, it was good. I mean, I thought the finish actually came off great with the Samoan spike. I mean, the fans are really into Ziggler. I mean, Ziggler didn't look at his absolute best, but I think considering the time off and considering his age, I think it was a good showing from Ziggler. So thumbs up there. I mean, look, it's a little bit weird that you bring Ziggler back and he not even get the victory here, but they still kind of, they still got a lot of plans for Solo. I don't really watch SmackDown that much, but it seems like he's really, heavily involved with his stable and with the SmackDown storyline. So, so what else did you have on the show? You had Alexa Bliss cutting a promo. The fans were giving her the what treatment, and you could tell it definitely annoyed her. But she cut a good promo. I think the promo was good about Charlotte, about all the ups and downs, about, they definitely been like sisters throughout the years. They even wrestled at Survivor Series 2017, which I actually just covered. But yeah, this is a little bit of a weird situation. So Charlotte was very, reluctant to join with Rhea Ripley. Just doesn't trust Rhea Ripley, and there's a huge beatdown on Alexa, from Asuka and the whole gang, even Nia Jax. So it was definitely a good segment. I think seeing Charlotte actually decide to come out and join Alexa and actually side with Rhea was definitely a good moment. I think the women's War Games match, it should definitely be a lot of fun. It should be interesting to see how the rest of the teams, kind of round out from there. You also had Becky Lynch taking on Maxixne Dupri. Definitely probably the weakest match I think they had so far. It really wasn't about the match. Maxixne Dupri wins the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and it was good. I mean, look, I think she's definitely improved. I mean, it's a good story. You could definitely tell she's in great shape. She's got a unique look. And she's definitely improved a lot. I just remember her, one of the Royal Rumbles a couple years ago, and she's definitely come a long way. So it's always good to see, hard work get rewarded. A situation like this, Becky was acting like a bitch the whole match. She was actually yelling at the female referee, Jessica Carr. So you got some nice back and forth between, Becky and Jessica Carr, like in the ring. And, and surprisingly, AJ Lee comes out and helps Maxixne win. It was a little bit weird. I mean, I don't know. I think it came off a little bit forced. So I'm not crazy about AJ being used in this spot just to help Maxixne. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of, reasoning or history between them. But, it's a lot of payback for Becky Lynch. But it's good. It gets the IC title off of Becky. Becky is such a, star that, I don't really think she needs to hold the IC title for long, especially when you got someone that's, definitely proven, that she's, a huge asset in Maxixne Dupri. So definitely, it was, definitely not a good, not their best work. I mean, they've had other matches on Raw that really, I think, impressed the shit out of people unexpectedly. This just wasn't it. It was more about AJ coming out and Maxixne just celebrating, which was cool to see. It was really, really cool. And then you had, the match of the night. You had Gunther versus Javon Evans. Good stuff. Gunther comes out with his old theme. Yeah, this was his old theme music. So it was cool to see Gunther back. Oh, man, when he busted out the walls of Jericho, there was actually a Y2J chant, actually. I was thinking of Jim Ross. Fans chanting for Y2J here. I was thinking about that. But other than that, man, I thought Gunther looked awesome. It's nice to see him back. Let me say this about Gunther. I want to make this point. See, without Gunther, I think it hurts Triple H as a booker or a promoter. Like when Gunther won the MVP a couple years ago, everyone was kissing Triple H's balls about how he was the best booker ever, and it was because the talent makes the booker. I want to make that clear. And if Gunther is not defending the belt, or he's not defending it that frequently, or he's out of action, it's going to hurt him. But I think Gunther is really the key to Triple H's success. I think if you really want to, put butts in the seats and keep people engaged with this product, I think Gunther is really like one of those pieces. I think it is. So it was a fun matchup. Javon Evans was ultra impressive. I mean, he didn't kill himself. If you're expecting him to, wow you with an incredible bump that we've seen in NXT, you didn't really get that. But it was really, really good. I really think this really could have reached like an epic level if Javon had fought out of the choke, because there was a moment where you thought he might fight out of it, and the crowd was about to explode, but he ended up tapping out, and yeah, it kind of deflated the crowd a little bit, but it had some good moments here. I think Gunther came off like a beast. I think Javon really played the underdog quite nicely. It was just a beautiful match right here. I mean, it was just awesome stuff. I mean, Javon Evans would have been a cool matchup to go against Cena. It really, really would have. But yeah, I'll be definitely looking forward to Gunther if Gunther is able to survive this whole tournament. I really thought Gunther and Cena could have been a WrestleMania match. And then to close the show, we have War Games. We get the War Games. I don't know what this was supposed to be. I guess this was supposed to be like a face-off. So I was expecting it to be a promo. So the Heyman stuff was good. Heyman actually went into depth about how this is his best War Games team ever. He talks about the Samoan SWAT team and the Dangerous Alliance from WCW and even the Bloodline. But he said, no, this is the best, War Games team. that I've ever had. And by the end of the show, you know why. I mean, Brock Lesnar comes out and, sets the world on fire. I don't know why. I just didn't expect Brock to come out. Some people were actually expecting Jericho to come out. Yeah, Jericho is not coming back until, the end of the year or next year. So, but yeah, Brock coming back. When you think about it, it doesn't completely surprise me. It really, really doesn't. But, you had, Cody come out. You had, Punk comes out first, and then the Usos come out, which felt like it took forever. But then you just get the teams just fighting in the ring. And I got to say this about Heyman's stable, especially with McIntyre. And, even with Seth out of the picture, the stable feels great now. Like, I even think Logan is a better fit than Seth. I mean, the problem with Seth and this stable was every time they got into the ring, you have the fans singing and dancing. It was just fucking horrible. It just didn't work as like a top heel faction. I think that was one of the problems with it. But yeah, bringing over McIntyre, it's just for the War Games, but I think McIntyre is a good addition. So, when Brock came out, Punk was like the only guy in the ring. So you got to see Punk and Brock hook it up, the two Paul Heyman guys, for the first time since God knows how long, maybe since SummerSlam 2013. Yeah, and Brock just tossed around Punk like it was a sack of potatoes. So, that was really cool. And then Cody got into the ring, and Brock, gave Cody some breathtaking German suplexes. Brock looks a little bit better than he did at WrestlePalooza. I mean, he looked good. I don't know if he's that much better since WrestlePalooza, but hopefully he puts on a better effort at War Games. And it's cool to see Brock in War Games, like it really is. I mean, I've always, he's been in Elimination Chambers, but the one that he was in was like fucking bullshit. That was the Austin Theory one. But yeah, I don't think Brock has really ever been in like a War Games. I mean, he's been in Survivor Series elimination matches, maybe Team Angle versus Team Lesnar, but not that many. So it's a pretty cool thing. So fans are chanting for OTC. I didn't think Roman was going to come out, but yeah, Roman actually comes out. And, what felt like the first time in a long time that Roman and Brock, staring each other down, and it had a unique feel to it. It felt like this was really, the type of, placement you really wanted Roman and Brock to get to, with Roman just being massively over and Brock being a massive heel. You never really got that type of reaction for like a Roman and Brock showdown. So I thought that was really awesome. And yeah, I mean, it just ends with Roman getting the upper hand. Then all of a sudden the cops come out. That one black cop, he looked like it was Ed Lover, because Ed Lover and Dr. Dre played cops in a movie called Who's the Man? And I'm like, who is that guy? And then all of a sudden the cops come out. They're trying to break up the fight. There's a spear through the barricade from Roman, I think, to Bronson Reed, and one of the cops gets taken out. So it's a pretty awesome ending. But yeah, I you know what though, man? I think the story of the Raw though is Cena's last match. I definitely think Cena. Look, I know some guys are going to disagree with me, but, we'll evaluate it when the pay-per-view rewind comes. But there's a good chance that Cena's the MVP of the WWE this year. I mean, there's really not a lot to choose from. It's a hard list to pick. There's so many guys that I just don't think, you could even consider. But when it comes down to it, I think Cena's definitely gotten better throughout the year. I definitely think he's gotten in better shape. I think the matches have really, been good for the most part. The Brock match was not his fault. But, I think ever since the match with Cody at SummerSlam, the matches have been just really, really fun. And, the crowds have been incredible. And, yeah, I definitely think Cena had, even the match with Dom, was a lot of fun. I just think even tonight, seeing Cena work with JD McDonough, I thought it was pretty awesome, man. So, yeah. I think it was a good Raw, man. November 17th, 23 years to the date of the greatest Survivor Series ever, and this beautifully sets up, Survivor Series War Games, and it, beautifully sets up the Saturday night's main event. It sets up two great events that are coming up, so definitely check it out. All right.